Right. And we are slated to work on building towards charts and graphs. What is it that we are intending to do? We intend to understand the different types of graphs and charts. The same will be followed by creating data views using common graphs and charts, building data views using advanced charts and graphs. We'll also be building maps and geographic data analysis. That is something of interest, of course. And finally, we'll be analyzing data and inspect data in the view. Fine, so let's start or import the file afresh. I'll click on more. The good thing about opening in more is you will get to see all the different file formats. So if I click here, all files, everything will come up over here. So you can choose whatever you want to, irrespective of whether it's of the CSV file or any other file format. So what do I intend to work upon? Well, I intend to work upon the petrol data set. So petrol data set June. What is its file size? Yeah, it's a small file size. Instead of that, let us also see if you can pick something bigger. Fine. So let's work on credit score. We'll analyze the credit score. That is the training data that we intend to have. So I click open and I click on sheet 1. Fine. So these are the details that pertain to the credit score analysis that we intend to conduct. And of course, we'll be conducting these analysis using these set of graphs, these types of charts and graphs. So keeping that in mind, so let us go with dragging and dropping the necessary data on the columns and the row panes. So what do I intend to analyze? Let us intend and analyze the annual income. Okay. We'll also check for the credit mix. Okay. So let's check for the credit mix. So out here we can see good, bad, and standard. The same should be followed by what? Amount invested or changed credit utilization ratio. So what do we see here? In case of a credit utilization ratio, it is the highest for standard credit mix and it's bad. So these are the numbers. It is the highest for standard. And out here we see there's this the credit mix is provided, but there's no particular value. We don't know what value is this. It's not getting quite evidenced here, but don't worry, we'll come to that later. So this is how your credit mix looks like, or it appears. So like, what do we see here? Again, when we come here on the pie chart, you see there is one or more dimension needed and one or two measures are needed. So that's standard, bad, good, and yeah, standard. So this is how your pie chart is generated. If I were to take it as part of the tree map, so we can see here that in the tree map, standard is the highest. So typically what is noticeable is whichever graphs you take, the biggest value will appear more pronounced. That is how the overall logic can go. So let's select this one. Out here also we see in the horizontal bars, this is the highlights table. The highlights table, the one with the darkest highlight is that of standard. So again, that is for the heat maps. In the heat maps also we see standard has the highest value. So this is how your different graphs and charts available. But okay, we have selected rather simple mix of dimensions and measures. Now let us go into a bit complicated mix. So let's check for the payment behavior. So for the payment behavior, what do we see? These are the high spend, large value payments, high spend, large value, medium payments, low payments, and all. So let us select the pie chart and see how it shows up. Right now, this is some garbage characters, so we're not able to identify what this is. But supposedly, if I were to click on this, so when I see a large spend, high spend, large value, so out here we see standard has a high credit utilization ratio is the highest. So for the standard credit mix is the credit utilization ratio is the highest when it is for high spend and large value. Now this is keep only. If we deselect it, let's come back here on the pie chart. So this is how the payment behavior is reflected. Again, after this, supposedly, if I were to select for bad, so this is how we saw it for the high spend, large value customers or clients in terms of the credit mix. If I have to go on high spent medium value payments. This is how your credit utilization ratio will appear to be. So whatever variables, irrespective of whether they are dimensions or measures, we are selecting based on the graph type or the chart type, they will be automatically allocated on the different panes as you see here. So again, if I have to come back on this, we are still understanding the different types of graphs, and we are also in simultaneity creating data views using common graphs and charts. So fine, this is how you built and created. Now let's, the pie chart for once. And now we'll go for what? Let us delete this. So let us bring credit mix over here. Right, now let us pick a different type, another type of example. Let us work on the loan type. That is interesting. Loan type, and against that, what is the outstanding debt? So now again, that is what we have selected the horizontal bars. Let us see if we can select the pie charts and how it would show up for the pie charts. No, not as great. So this is a big spread of the loan types that we have. It's a very, very, very big spread. But what do we see here? The loan type outstanding debt is at 8661,199. And these are the different loans that we have taken here. So depending upon the graph, again, like I said, depending upon the graph that you select, those changes will be reflected on your canvas out here. And of course, they will correspondingly change, and the variables, the measures and the dimensions will move across the panes in accordance. So let's bring it here. Loan type. So again, what do we see here? Now there is this null value. Okay, that's the outstanding debt. So if we see here, now we have the loans. Okay, the values are listed here. What is this? Debt consolidation, loan, personal loan. So these are different loan types. I mean, it's very big list really. So when I click on student loan, payday loan, student loan. So these are the different types of loan that one particular person has taken, because it's the loan type against the outstanding debt. So the auto loans are one of the highest that we are seeing here. And then second highest rather, we don't have this data, that is not reflected. So if you want to view the data, let's click on the view data. So now what do we see here? Well, we have the annual income, we have the credit age history, we have the credit mix, also credit score is the column that we have. Customer IDs are also provided. The payment behavior, this is an important thing. Payment of minimum amount, no, most people are paying. What is the total EMI per month? So depending upon the values, they have been segregated as dimensions measures. So when you speak of outstanding debt, we are seeing here, the values keep changing. And eventually, since it's a summation of all the values, so we are seeing the highest value, that is 8661,199. So this is how your data score would look like. So now let's see the outstanding against the occupation. So we'll remove the loan types. So what do I see here typically? Again, which occupations have the highest outstanding debt that I'm seeing here? I can see a mechanic has the highest outstanding debt, that is followed by an engineer. So should we say that are they the most underpaid occupations? No, not necessarily. That's not the conclusion we can draw. Having said that, what can be noticed is that some of the occupations more demanding in terms of the outstanding debt. But in case of musicians, they don't have any outstanding debt. They don't have heavy debt. Or followed by that, an architect also does not have as much of an outstanding debt. A scientist and a teacher, well, they have, surprisingly, scientists is having a higher debt. So depending upon the profession or the occupation that you're associated with, the outstanding debt is changing. Having said that, there is not much of a change, but the most occupation with the lowest debt is, of course, the musician. That is 882. That's 8 million. outstanding, 8.2 millions. And then that is followed by the architect and entrepreneur. So that is at what, 8.5 million. So that is the outstanding debt for each occupation. Now let's remove that. Let's click on show me. And we'll now analyze the occupation against what? Against the credit utilization ratio, number of credit card inquiries. Now, why are we taking number of credit inquiries also? Because when you have a credit card debt, there are times and situations when people try to pay off those credit card debts using or buying fresh credit. So that can lead to a kind of a debt trap. So it is equally important to assess every candidate as to what is its credit utilization and what are the number of credit inquiries he generally or he's coming across. If we see it from the perspective of a banker, then higher the credit utilization ratio, higher is the risk of default. Lower the credit utilization ratio, there is a very bright chance that the person will be able to honor his debt. He'll be able to honor his debt. So depending upon it, of course, the credit utilization ratio is a function of total credit limit also. But still, if it's high, if the credit utilization ratio is generally higher than 40 or 50 or 60% consistently, then the risk default on that particular client or a customer shoots up. So that is how its interpretation goes. But out here, as I see it, now, again, this is the side-by-side bar that I've selected. If I want, I can also take it as a stack bar, but stack bar, no, it's not going to be of much help. So let us take the side-by-side bar. So on the side-by-side bar, what do I see? The outstanding debt is the highest at 9947, and out here, of course, the profession is not known. Now, if I were to know this is the outstanding debt we are seeing. Okay, if I want to see what is the average outstanding debt, okay, because we are seeing there is for accountant it's 8.8 million, followed by architect at 8.4, 8.8 for developer, and then for the doctor it's 8.6, engineers is 9.1, entrepreneur at 8.5, and then the mechanic is 9.2. So engineers and mechanics, they comprise of the occupations with the highest outstanding debt. That is something that we saw earlier as well. So after this, what more can we look at? Right, let's do some bit of analytics also. So let us draw an average line. So that is the average line that they are drawing. So what is the average for the media manager? 8.6. It's 3.2 for a mechanic. And in the average that we have, let's right click on that and see, can we edit it? Yes, it can be edited. You can have it as a band. You can also have it as a distribution. You can also have it as a box plot, or you can simply just have it as a normal line. So I click it as a normal line. Okay. And edit, show recalculated line. Don't know that, don't want that. So the average values are provided here. Okay, if you want to change it as or the minimum value that is here. So this is the minimal value that they have taken. The minimum values out here as 197 to 78 for a media person. But again, so this is how you will be adding analytics also to your graphs. But anyway, you can remove this. You don't need it.